Let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're looking at an ancient text that completely flips the script on something we all just kind of take for granted. I mean, most of us see the sunrise as just a routine daily event, right? The earth spins, the sun pops up, we grab our coffee, and we start the day. But the source material we're digging into today, it doesn't see it that way at all. Instead, it presents the dawn as this monumental, intricately designed feat of cosmic engineering. We're going to unpack how this text blends really vibrant, mystical poetry with a highly structured, almost mechanical view of the universe. It's a spectacular journey, literally taking us from the flutter of a bird's wing all the way up to a massive 28-year cosmic clock. So let's get into it.
Okay, so the text immediately sets this incredibly mystical tone. It says, "The elements of the sun, the phoenixes and chalcedony broke into song." Right out of the gate, we're not talking about physics or gravity here. We are dealing with a full-blown celestial event. The dawn isn't just a shift in light. It's actually heralded by the literal voices of mythical celestial beings. It's like the universe isn't some silent, cold vacuum. It's alive, and it's communicating through a sacred song.
Which brings us to Section 1, the Sacred Sunrise Chorus, a mythical awakening. Let's look closely at the intimate, auditory beginning of this daily cycle.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how these specific creatures function almost like a divine alarm clock for the cosmos. The text specifically calls the phoenixes and chalcedony elements of the sun, meaning they aren't just animals hanging out near the sun. They are fundamental, working gears in its mechanism. And they initiate the dawn by breaking into song specifically at the command of the Lord. There's this absolute, unquestionable authority driving the whole morning ritual.
Notice the cascading sequence here, because it's incredibly structured. First, the celestial elements, those phoenixes and chalcedony, they sing. Second, as a direct result of that, earthly birds flutter their wings and rejoice. They join in this massive, joyous chorus. And finally, the giver of light brings the brightness. So the celestial song triggers the earthly response, actively welcoming the transition from darkness to light. It's like the creatures of Earth are actively participating in this grand, daily honor to the Creator.
Moving right along to Section 2, Radiant Energy Unleashed, Illuminating the Earth. As that singing reaches its absolute peak, we shift our focus from the auditory to witness the emergence of the sun's radiant energy sweeping over the world. The source text beautifully describes these incoming sunbeams with an incredibly powerful metaphor. It says the morning guard takes shape, referring to the rays of the sun. Think about that imagery for a second. The light isn't just randomly spilling over the horizon. It's a guard. It's a disciplined, deliberate force taking a distinct physical shape to bring brightness and order to the morning. The crucial takeaway here is how this light operates under a very specific divine order. The giver of light approaches, the sun goes out, and it receives its brightness to light up the whole face of the earth. It's a highly deliberate expansion. The light has a mission to reach and illuminate every single corner of the world, leaving absolutely nothing untouched by this morning guard.
And that perfectly sets up Section 3, the gates of time, the mechanics of divine order.
This is where the text introduces an incredible duality. And honestly, it's what makes this explainer so captivating. On one side, you have all this mystical, emotional imagery, right? The singing creatures, the celestial event, the radiant morning guard. But then, on the other side, the text suddenly pivots and introduces calculations, great gates, and the computation of the hours of the year. It just seamlessly blends the spiritual with what is essentially a highly complex astronomical system. Let's look at exactly what the text says about this. The sun enters the great gates of the computation of the hours of the year. Now, we aren't talking about physical wooden doors here. These great gates represent a sophisticated framework. They act as cosmic checkpoints regulating the exact measurement of time. The sun passing through these gates is quite literally what dictates the hours of our year. It's a mechanical process. Which leads us to Section 4, the Cosmic Master Clock, a monumental cycle. Let's zoom all the way out to the macro level here. Here, the source elevates the sun's status even further. It calls the sun a great creation. And then it reveals that this great creation follows an incredibly specific long-term timeline. Its circuit lasts 28 years, and then, and only then, does it begin again from the beginning. 28, a 28-year cycle. This represents a monumental and recurring feat of cosmic engineering. It implies that the daily sunrise we experience, the one with the birds and the singing, is really just one tiny gear turning inside a much, much larger machine. It's a clock that takes nearly 3 decades to complete a single revolution before resetting. That is far more profound than any modern clock or calendar we rely on today, don't you think?
When we look at how this builds step by step across the entirety of the source material, the scale is just staggering. We start with the sacred chorus. That's a daily event, and its purpose is to herald the light. Then we level up to the Great Gates. That operates on an annual scale, computing the hours of a single year. And finally, the Grand Circuit, a massive 28-year scale whose sole purpose is to completely restart this cosmic master clock. The structure here is just immaculate.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question to chew on. Do you view the passage of time as merely a ticking clock, or as a magnificent cosmic system operating in divine order? Because honestly, after reading this text, it's pretty hard not to look up at the sky a little differently. How are you going to perceive the sunrise tomorrow morning? Will you just see light, or will you imagine that sacred song, those great gates, and the fact that you're witnessing one tiny brilliant moment in a 28-year cycle of cosmic engineering? Definitely something to think about the next time you watch the dawn.